Tom Glavine has not lost a start in his last 12 outings. It's been nearly 2.5 months since Glavine was defeated, and along the way his 300th win. He's now at 303 and going for 304 tonight against the second-place Phillies. Here's your fourth starting lineup for the Phillies tonight. Jimmy Rollins trying to put together an MVP season. Ryan Howard, the defending MVP, with big numbers as well. The Phillies score more runs than any team in the National League.
Well, Tommy Glavine has just been outstanding as the Boo Birds are out for Jimmy Rollins. 2 months he hasn't given up more than 3 or more runs in a start. This is his 3rd time facing Jamie Moyer, and tonight 666, the 666 start, ties him with Walter Johnson for 12th place.
And Jimmy Rollins goes after the first pitch of the night. David Wright makes a wide throw. Conine stays on the bag. 1 pitch, and Rollins retired to start the weekend.
And we got the defense for the Metsies tonight, brought to you by Lexus. You see Jeff Conine at first base. He's been platooning there with Sean Green at first base. He's playing against the left-hander Moyer tonight. Castillo back in the lineup, that tender knee, Mets keeping an eye on that. And also Milledge back in the lineup, who's been platooning as well, getting a lot of playing time with Delgado down with the hip flexor.
Well, Chase Utley might have missed a month because of a broken hand, but it hasn't kept him from leading the National League in batting. .338 batting average, and Glavine misses high for ball 1.
Well, Utley is certainly, there's Jeff.
And if you pan down a little bit, you see Jeff has a new number. His old number, which he finally was able to acquire 3 weeks after arriving with the Mets. He traded with Sandy Alomar Jr., who had number 19, which Conine had worn throughout his career. I have not been able to ascertain if anything of value changed hands in the transaction. 1-1 the count to Utley. And the curveball pulled foul, and it's 1-2. One and two to Utley, lead with 1 out. And he hits it in the air to shallow center. Beltran with plenty of time to get under it. And quickly, Glavine's retired the first 2.
Well, Glavine is a creature of habit. Look at these warm-up pitches. Most of the times you just kind of throw the first couple down the middle to get loose. Not Tom Glavine. He works right on that corner with LaDuca right from the start. Never wavering from the way he pitches. Look at LaDuca. Outside corner, inside corner.
Did you like to do that, Ronnie?
Not the first few. I just want to fire it, kind of get all that adrenaline out, and then start hitting the corners.
Well, here's Pat Burrell. 5 homers against the Mets this year, 41 in his career, 3 against Glavine. More home runs against the Mets than any active player. More than Chipper, more than Bonds. And there's a strike, 1-1.
Home plate umpire Paul Emmel has a nice size strike zone so far for Tommy Glavine.
Popped up. Castillo angling over. Side retired. So Glavine with an easy first inning of work against the high-powered Phillies. Took him just 8 pitches to negotiate it. Mets come up in the bottom of the first. Well, John Maine left his start the other night with a blister. The blister appears to be okay, but what's that on his upper lip? He looks like Clouseau.
He took the mustache and put the ends up.
Here's your Geico Mets starting lineup tonight. Jeff Conine has been hitting very well since coming over from the Reds, and he gets the start tonight at first base. Lastings Milledge back in the lineup in right field as Jose Reyes leads things off against the 44-year-old lefty Jamie Moyer. He bluffs a bunt, takes a strike.
Well, Jamie Moyer with his wins is 15th all-time for a left-handed pitcher, only 7 less than Whitey Ford, and he has those 13 wins, but you see that high ERA as the Phillies have been able to score over 6 runs for him the last 10 starts.
Fought off foul, and over the last 5 starts, Moyer's earned run average is 8.42. And when you think about what has happened to the Philadelphia pitching as this year has gone along, when we were in spring training and even early in the season, you looked at the Phillies starting staff and you said this is the deepest and maybe the strongest starting staff in the division. Reyes lifts one deep to left, but playable for Burrell. And that's the first out. So 1 out and nobody on.
And the Rico Philadelphia Fighting Phils defense. You see Ryan Howard, last year's MVP, at first. Abraham Nunez, they always start him at third base with Moyer on the mound. He's a fine fielding third baseman. And of course, Moyer, the soft tosser. More right-handers tend to pull him, so therefore the defensive the positioning there of Nunez. And also Carlos Ruiz behind the plate. Watch him. I like his swing.
Here's Luis Castillo batting from the right side, his power side. His only home run this year has come as a right-handed batter. Castillo had the day off on Wednesday with that knee troubling him. Toward the middle, and Rollins gets over, does the 360, and Castillo retired 2 away.
You know, Gary, getting back to your comments about we'll watch Rollins on this play. It's pretty much routine. Played the long hop, strong arm, much like Reyes. One of the top MVP candidates right here. A lot of writers are saying that Rollins is the MVP, right, number 2. Well, that's debatable. We'll find out, of course, at the end of the year how that voting goes. There's other candidates, but David Wright certainly put a surge on, Gary.
I think a lot of it has to do if the Phillies make the postseason. If they don't, I think Wright goes to number 1.
And I think also there are a couple of other Phillies who might steal votes from Rollins. Certainly Utley and Howard have to be considered as well. As
Wright hits one to deep left field. Back goes Burrell. Back to the track. Back at the wall. It's out of here. David Wright puts his stamp on the weekend, and it's 1-0 New York. Number 29 for David Wright.
Well, David has killed lefties all year long, and he's just death for lefties. And when you know you're hot when you swing at first pitch of the ball game and you go deep, and that's the kind of comfort level you're in at the plate. This is a fastball, belt high, inner half, and David all over it. And he is 1 away from the 30-30 club.
Beltran hits one to left field toward the end of the bat, and so Burrell will have room on the track to pull it in to end the inning. But David Wright, who seems to put the Mets ahead on a daily basis, does it again. His 29th home run of the year, and the Mets get the jump on the Phillies 1-0.
the newly shorn David Wright not only getting close to the 30-30 club, but the 100-100 club as well. 97 RBIs and now 99 runs scored.
Well, he's had a great second half. And remember, Met fans, I know you all do, it is bad April that he had. So this was really the first prolonged slump that David has had, and boy, he's turned it around.
Ryan Howard leads off. Well, it was the mass haircutting in San Francisco that got David Wright going the first time.
I forgot about that.
And now he's gone short again. As Howard hits one to right field, Village drifting back, and that's the first out. So Howard, the defending MVP with 115 RBIs this season, makes the first out. There are some of your candidates in this game, and you could certainly include Chase Utley in that company as well. And, you know, Carlos Beltran's numbers are not that far off what Wright has done.
Yes.
But they're all up in that company. And certainly Prince Fielder is in that discussion as well. Matt Holliday from the Rockies. All will be given prime consideration for National League MVP honors. And it's funny to say this because we talk all the time about things that Mets have never done, like throwing no-hitters, but no Met has ever won a Most Valuable Player award.
I know that.
How do you know that?
Well, it's more understandable because the Mets have always been pitching rich and base their teams on pitching and defense. So it's not a surprise that there's never been an MVP out of the Met organization. But boy, what a crown that would be for David.
2-0 to Aaron Rowan, who's had a terrific year, and he lines one past right and down the left field line. Rowan heads to second as Alou digs it out, and Aaron Rowan does his 41st double of the year. First base runner against Glavine.
Well, you watch it, David's reaction, forget it. He has no shot. That thing's hooking away from him. And here's the pitch. Oh, pitch up in the strike zone. And Rowan, a good high ball hitter.
Very interesting, isn't it, that the Phillies choose of Moyer to play Nunez and he plays closer to the line. I wonder if the Mets have ever given any thought to that with David Wright in relation to Tom Glavine pitching.
Do you think it's because Glavine tends to work away more than Moyer does?
I think that's definitely one of the reasons. But on certain pitches, if he was tipped off, it'd be nice to get closer to the line.
Jason Worth takes a strike, and Worth's addition to the lineup has really helped the Phillies. It came about because of an injury to Shane Victorino, but Victorino has trouble getting back in the lineup now because Worth has been so hot.
Well, you see his numbers hitting 325 in 81 ball games, 206 at bats.
Changeup misses, 1-1.
I know Sid Fernandez would be disappointed. His Hawaiian brother is catching some pine as he's sitting there on the Phillies bench.
Well, it's funny how those things develop. Remember the Dodgers last year coming down the stretch installed Marlon Anderson as their everyday left fielder because he got hot, and you don't mess with that kind of formula when you need to win games. Now it's 3-0 to Worth with Carlos Ruiz waiting on deck. I get a 2-1 count to Worth. Well, that was the first extra base hit given up by Glavine in his last 4 starts, which is phenomenal for a guy who is not overpowering. Strike 2-2. Glavine has now gone 8 starts without giving up a home run.
Interesting pitching here. 2-1 count in the hitter's favor. What does he throw? A fastball right down the middle, worth taking.
Well, with Glavine, the fastball down the middle is the last thing you're looking for.
It's a second or third option, probably.
The Duca sets up inside. Glavine misses low, and it's 3-2. Well, the hair may be a little grayer, but he is the master that he has been now for the better part of 2 decades. Maybe a few more tools in the toolbox.
Hit hard to short, off the glove of Reyes, trickles behind him. The runner at second, Rowan has to hold, and Worth is aboard with a shot that ate up Reyes.
And I think that this is going to be ruled a base hit. We'll see. This was a rocket that handcuffed Reyes. Ball came up, just couldn't get the backhand in front, hit too hard to get in front of it. And usually Reyes, whenever he can get in front of a ball, he gets in front of it. So that was a rocket. Tough chance.
And it is a base hit for Jason Worth, who's now been on base in 20 straight games. So a chance for Carlos Ruiz, the rookie catcher, hitting a .260 on the year. First and second and 1 out.
Grounded to short, might be a double play. Reyes to Castillo, hangs in, makes the throw. Target double play. Big Jason Worth went in on Luis Castillo, hung in and turned it 6-4, 3 to end the inning. How good has Castillo been in the middle of double plays? Taking everything they can dish out. 1-0 New York.
Well, that pair has been fun to watch. The Mets got Luis Castillo for just this reason.
Well, one thing about Castillo, he's not afraid to stay in there and take a little punishment, even with a tender knee. That's what I like about him at second base. Now, he knows right there he hasn't got a lot of time, and he can't be fancy. He has to stand there and take it. And a good clean slide there by Worth.
Moises Alou leads off, swings at the first pitch, sends Worth over toward the right field line. 1 pitch and 1 out for Moyer in the bottom of the second.
Well, you know, there's several ways of turning that double play, and you know, I always had my view was from first base, Gary. I could see the second baseman, a ground ball hit to the left side of the infield. I could see the corner of my eye, the second baseman coming over, and I played with some very good ones. And you know, it depends on how close the play is going to be as to what they can do. There's 3 different ways that they can turn the double play. But when they're under the gun with a fast runner, they got to get rid of that ball lightning fast.
Here's the newly numbered Jeff Conine, and he takes the curve from Moyer for a strike. When you say 3 ways of turning a double play,
well, if it's the guy's barreling down, you know, you can catch it on the left field side of the bag, and you can't slide. He has to slide over the bag to get to you. but then again, you're lengthening your throw, so you can't do it on a close play. And of course, the other two ways is the good second basemen can see out of the corner of the eye or their eye where the guy's sliding, whether it's inside the line or outside the line. And I've seen second basemen just leave guys in the dust. They slide on the wrong side of the bag. They were that good at turning the double play. Am I clear on that?
Yeah, kind of sleight of foot instead of sleight of hand.
Well, the thing about Castillo, that it seems as though he's able to stand in there and yet still use his legs to kind of hop one-footed over the base runner and avoid the hard contact.
Well, the thing that I appreciate the most, and I said it, is that he's got the tender knee. Strike three there to Conine looking. He did not like that call. You always have to appreciate, and Ronnie, you as a pitcher, the double play is a pitcher's best friend. You got a second baseman out there that just stays in there and gets clobbered. No one appreciates it more than the starting pitcher.
And it's so revealing because you know the guys who do and you know the guys who don't right away. And, you know, a lot of times it happens, you know, Castillo will stay behind the bag here and use the bag as a shield. The reason was it took so long for that play to develop, so he knows that Worth is going to be right in on him. So he's got to use that bag to kind of protect himself a little.
2 out and nobody on now. Paul LaDuca. And you know, Castillo's a relatively little guy, but you know, you look at guys like, say, Jeff Kent, or in his day Bobby Grich, those big strong second basemen, they could afford to stand in there a little longer, right?
Yeah, but it's also, you're leaving yourself open. I mean, you can get a knee injury there. It's a tough, the pivot's a tough, not an easy play. Tito Fuentes was the best I ever saw with the Giants when I first came up. He can leap over you like Ozzie Smith could leap, but he's a second baseman, and Tito used to always laugh at you as you threw the ball. You never get Tito as he was throwing the ball.
LaDuca with a foul pop-up beyond Howard's reach into the crowd.
Well, just recently, the Arizona Diamondbacks lost the game to the San Francisco Giants when the great Gold Glover for the Giants, Omar Vizquel, jumped over the runner and completed the double play to get the win for the Giants.
And then, of course, there was that incident that the Phillies were involved in against San Diego when Carlos Ruiz went in on Marcus Giles and went in an unconventional manner and wound up getting called for interference and precipitating a little bit of hard feelings on the part of Giles. LaDuca drives one to right. Worth moving over. And Moyer's got himself a 1-2-3 inning. David Wright's home run, the only tally of this game as we go to the third, 1-0 New York. 5 nights a week, catch the Emmy-nominated hit comedy 2.5 Men, now twice a night, weeknights on the CW11. Here's your Mets upcoming schedule. All Mets home games on SNY are available in HD, presented by IO Digital Cable. CW11 tomorrow, back on SNY Sunday for the finale with the Phillies. Then it's off to Washington and Florida for the Mets' final road trip of the season. Abraham Nunez takes ball one from Tom Glavine as we start the third inning, and we welcome in Ralph Kiner. Ralph, how are you?
Okay, Gary, how are you?
Well, we're heading down the stretch of a season in which I guess the last time we spoke, the Phillies had executed this sweep of the Mets, and you didn't know what was going to transpire, and somehow they seem to have been buoyed by that.
Well, they certainly came back. Of course, they lost 2 games since that time over the 4-game loss. And the amazing thing about that 4-game loss was they could have won all 4 games.
Castillo catches the pop-up by Nunez for the first out. We were just in a discussion about second basemen turning double plays. Who was the best you ever saw?
I guess you'd have to say, well, Mazeroski certainly was in there. Player for the Yankees, Jerry Purdy, was outstanding at turning double plays. But Mazeroski was really fast. Actually, the ball would hit the heel of his glove and not really go in the pocket and bounce right into his throwing hand, and then he'd go to first base.
See guys sometimes using those flat training gloves, right?
Of course, almost all second basemen use small gloves.
If you play catch with really good infielders, it doesn't matter how hard you throw. You can throw and play catch with them sometimes where they won't use the pocket. They'll just catch the ball on the outside of the glove. They'll keep it squeezed, catch it on the outside of the glove, and they'll return it right back to you. I mean, it's amazing to play catch with those guys.
Jamie Moyer fouls off the curveball.
How about Frank Thomas? Frank Thomas, who played with the Mets, the original Mets, he would take anyone, and say, "I'll catch a barehanded from 60 feet." But he would give with the throw. He would bet you he could do that, and he won all his bets.
I remember Tom Gorman, who was with the Mets in the 80s, was saying to Gary Carter one day, he said, "Gary, these are the kind of signs I want to use." Gary Carter said to him, he was a soft tosser, he said, I don't have to put a sign down for you. Just throw it. I can catch it.
Well, you hear a lot of that stuff. Well, it's amazing what we had a catcher named Clyde McCullough that played for the Pirates and Cubs and a lot of clubs, and he would catch without a chest protector.
Really?
Yeah. On hot days, he wouldn't wear a chest protector.
Oh my God!
And he might have been the toughest ball player I ever knew.
That's where men were men. I'll tell you that. Oh, he's a man too, but probably with all that equipment, that new age equipment.
3-2 to Moyer. Well, I imagine McCullough never called for a curveball and got a fastball then.
Well, you know, one thing about it, he had a great arm, and he would never call for a curveball when there was a runner on first base.
3-2 to Moyer.
He wanted to make sure he had the edge on the throw to second.
I knew a few of those guys, Ralph.
Well, I bet you did. There are a lot of pitchers that won't throw breaking ball or change up or anything else for the runner first base.
Well, that's guys like hitting number 2 behind a good base stealer, right?
That's right.
Well, Glavine's already thrown 9 pitches to Jamie Moyer and still going. It's not how to keep your pitch count down.
Yeah, Jamie Moyer is not a good hitting pitcher, but one thing he does do, he battles you up there, just tries to make contact, and he's doing it right here.
The greatest batter I ever saw that would foul off pitches on purpose was Lou Kaplan.
No.
And he would foul off 15, 16, 17 pitches and tried to.
Wow.
And another one played for the Phillies, Richie Ashburn. He could foul a ball off as well as anybody I ever saw.
Well, Castillo handles the grounder, but an 11-pitch at bat for Moyer, so if nothing else, he has run up Glavine's pitch count 2 away.
One of the great things about Richie Ashburn was the fact that he could do this. And Bob Prince, who broadcast the Pirate games, had a fan in the stands. He used to give him a real tough time. He said, "I want you to do me a favor. I want you to foul the ball off in that fan." And so he fouled about 5 guys in the right direction, right near there.
Yeah.
And Prince yelled down and said, "1 seat over and 2 up."
Nobody's that good. Rollins takes ball 1. I mean, would a guy like that, would they practice fouling balls off?
Well, they have the ability to get the bat in the ball. I guess they did practice because it was part of their get on base percentage. Appling was amazing. He's also the oldest batter that ever hit a home run in the Major League ballpark. He had in a old timers game, he had a home run at the age of 75 in the old Washington ballpark, Washington, D.C.
Rollins gets under one down the left field line. Now Lou over and can't quite get there.
No Bartman, was there?
No Bartman now.
Not this time.
How can you be famous for catching a foul ball?
Getting away.
If he caught it, it might have been better.
You know who fouls the ball off pretty well now and is batting 350 for the 351 in fact for the Mariners is Ichiro. He's very good at fouling pitches
really
off until he gets his pitch.
But he's running all the time when he's hitting. That's one thing about him, man. He's amazing with that bat.
He got a lot of infield hits that way. That running start.
I wonder if he's ever been timed down to first base.
Rollins pulls one down the left field line. That'll go foul.
The world record for going from home to first as a batter is 3.3 seconds. And it's held by Mickey Mantle.
Wow.
That's hard to believe for those of us who didn't get to see Mickey before he lost his speed.
Boy, he can run.
Curveball hit to left field, and now Lou's parked right under it. So Glavine using his curveball to good effect tonight.
He's faced just 10 batters over the first 3 innings, and he's got himself a 1-0 lead as we go to the bottom of the 3rd. SNY.TV for full details. Lassing's Millage leads off the bottom of the 3rd against Jamie Moyer, and he takes a curveball for a strike. Millage hitting at .288, .340 against left-handers.
How about Lassing being out there with his dog?
Well, it's dog day here at Shea. And he rips one into the glove of Nunez. Nice catch, one away. You can't hit it much harder than that. Nunez making the lunging grab.
Well, there's no way in the world you could make this catch without the gloves they have today. I mean, that ball was hit like a rock. One thing about the old days, in fact, they played baseball in the real old days without gloves.
Yeah.
It was a bare-handed game. And they still play a game up on Long Island that's the old school, no gloves. Wow. Hardball, we're talking
Hardball,
about,
right? Yeah, because I know they play that 16-inch softball in Chicago without gloves. But
is that the old-fashioned town ball where they're allowed to hit the runner with the throws to get an out?
I think that was outlawed. One time you could throw and hit the runner and he'd be out.
Right.
Well, the slowest runner became commissioner, and after that, they outlawed it.
He changed the rules.
That's right.
2-1 to Glavine. Well, if you go to the Hall of Fame, you have to go to the old glove exhibit, which I'm
unbelievable.
You've
Yeah,
seen many times, Ralph.
Yeah, the gloves were like Mortimer's gloves on a streetcar. They were terrible. The best glove that ever came out back in the 30s was a Dokes glove, and he was a pitcher that got that glove, and he was a spitball pitcher, and he used the glove as a shield to see whether or not he was spitting on a ball or not.
Oh.
3-1 to Glavine with 1 out. And Tommy bounces one to the right side. Utley has to play it, and Moyer gets over to cover for the 4-1 putout. We mentioned it's dog day here tonight. Lassing's Millage and his girlfriend Raquel were out there with their pups before the game, and there was several hundred dogs on hand for the pregame parade, and they're out there in the picnic area tonight. It is packed out there. It's wall-to-wall pet owners and their dogs.
That's pretty amazing. You know, the Mets had a dog named Homer in the early days of their existence, and they trained Homer. He was from Hollywood, California. He stayed in the Waldorf Astoria Hotel. His trainer was a guy named, I can't think of his name right now, Weatherwax, who trained Lassie.
Oh, jeez.
And that dog got better treatment than any ball player ever did.
Well, they tried to train Homer to run the bases.
He did. He ran the bases, started out at home, and he took off for first base, got to first, and then cut across, skipping second to third, and everyone said, well, he's a Mets dog.
Well, back in those days, we're talking about the early 60s, that was apropos.
It's a new meaning to double-fisted right there.
Twins. Reyes takes a strike, 3-1. He thought he had ball 4.
You know, when you go back to the great pennant races, the Mets in 1969, on August the 10th, there were 13.5 games back of the Cubs, and came back and beat the Cubs by 10 games. And the Phillies, on the other hand, in 1964, had a 6.5 game lead with 12 games to play and lost 10 straight games and lost the championship.
I think Reyes better be swinging.
Oh, wow. You got that right, Gary.
Are you kidding me? Well, he didn't like strike 1. He certainly didn't like strike 2. And Paul Emmel called a strike 3 that I don't think anybody would have called a strike. And he just got fined for tossing the bat, Reyes did. So that's Reyes' turn at bat.
Oh, man.
Courtesy of Paul Emmel. We go to the 4th inning at Shea. The Mets with a 1-0 lead, courtesy of David Wright's first inning home run. Chase Utley leads off against Tom Glavine, who's allowed just 2 hits. Utley takes a strike.
And after Paul Emmel's performance in Jose Reyes' at bat, let's see if the strike zone is as large here in the top of the inning.
Well, I was back in the press room watching on TV just like you guys, and they looked like balls to me, particularly the third strike.
Welcome back, Keith.
Thank you, Will. Picked up Ronnie. Ronnie's got his one inning with Ralph. We can't get four in a booth up here. That's the problem. It's just too many. We have enough mics, but not enough room.
When we get to Citi Field, we'll have room for 10 in the booth. We can have a whole panel discussion. 1-2 to Utley.
This guy can really hit, Keith.
Oh, yeah, can he? I love his swing. Very short swing, Ralph. No wasted motion. Gets the bat right to the ball.
UCLA product, University of Southern California. He was really a good player there.
Tied up. Well, the third base umpire Ron Culpa says he didn't swing. 2-2.
I'm inclined to agree, Ralph.
I would say he didn't swing.
Although the way they call them these days.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's almost automatic.
2-2 from Glavine. And that's off the outside corner. And it's 3-2.
Now where's that wide strike zone, huh?
Tom's saying, you're giving it to them, give it to me.
Well, Willie was out talking to Emmel between innings after the strikeout of Reyes. Utley tops one that goes foul.
But how about Glavine, Ralph? I know you've been watching, and you know, he's always kind of, as a Met, his second half is always he's kind of faded. This year, he has just pitched better in the second half than the first.
Well, you said it right. He's really come on in the second half. Almost pitched a no-hitter the other day, won in the 7th inning. Well, I've given up a base hit. And they said to him, "You think he had a no-hitter?" He said, "Not with my stuff."
Utley hits one to center field right at Beltran. One away. Well, let's go back to Reyes' at bat after he got the count to 3-0.
That's low to me.
That's high, huh?
I thought that. Oh, that's the closest one. I thought.
That's outside.
And that was outside. I felt. And
Look at that. That was about 6 inches outside.
Now, do you think one protest by a hitter breeds the next strike call by an umpire ever?
Well, it shouldn't. There's no question about that. And I would say it depends on the individual.
I agree with Ralph. It depends on the umpire, and I'm sure Ralph in his day had umpires he knew he could argue with, and umpires you knew that if it was close, you just kept your mouth shut.
One of the best ones of all was a guy named Beans Reardon, and he missed a pitch on that you thought was a ball, and he called a strike. He said to you, "So I missed it. You got 2 more coming." So you can't argue. How can you argue on that?
Well, it's like anything else. If somebody admits their mistake, you've got no argument.
That's it. It's all over.
Yeah. And there were a lot of good umpires when I played. Harry Wendelstadt comes to mind.
Burrell hits one off the end of the bat, right over the bag. Conine makes the flip to Glavine, 2 out.
Well, that was really a cute shot right there by Burrell.
And this is the most dangerous ground ball for an infielder because you just don't know how it's going to bounce. And you just try to get in front and maybe even go down on your knees and make like a catcher because it gets such a squirrely bounce. Remember, it's a sidewinder, and it could bounce left or right. It just your heart goes pitter-patter when the ball's coming towards you.
It's like that double that Reyes hit the other day right over the third base bag. So here's Ryan Howard, who flied to the warning track and right his first trip, and it takes a big cut at change up, 0-1.
Now, quickly about and you see this pitch here, change up. With the Wendelstadt story, I got thrown out of the game by Harry. The only time he ever threw me out. I mean, Harry had a great attitude for an umpire.
Driven to deep right field. Back goes Millage. At the wall. He's got it. Hits the wall hard and keeps on ticking. Nice play by Millage. As Ryan Howard hits it deep for the second time, and Millage equal to the task again. That helps Glavine put together a 1-2-3 inning. Good thing that wall's padded. Still 1-0 New York.
Shades of Rusty Staub.
Luis Castillo leads off the home fourth and takes the curveball high from Jamie Moyer. Castillo grounded to short his first time up. Keith, you were talking about your run-in with Harry Wendelstedt.
Well, I'll be brief. It is a great story, and it says a lot about the kind of guy Harry was. I was in Montreal. I was never in a good mood in Montreal. I never saw the ball good there. They had good pitching staff. It was either hot or cold there. He struck me out on a bad call, threw me out of the game from arguing. And the next day I came to the park, and we're ready to start the game, and Harry came out, and the umpires came out of our dugout in Montreal, and he said, Keith, I was sick. It was a bad pitch. On my report to the league office, I didn't handle it right. On my report to the league office, I told him not to fine you, that it was my fault, and I wasn't fined. I thought that says a lot about Harry. There's a lot of umpires that wouldn't do that.
Not all of them have that much humility. Castillo lays off, and that was not judged to be a strike by Emil, and it's 3-2.
You get all kinds of umpires. There's no doubt about that. And one of the great ones of all time was Klein. He was an old-time umpire, and he ran the game. There's no question about that.
Castillo draws a walk, and the Mets have a leadoff base runner. Well, coming into the night, the Mets' magic number is 11 for clinching the National League East. 7 games in the loss column. They're ahead of the Phillies. But the Phillies are still very much alive in the wild card, just a game and a half beyond the Padres. After they won yesterday, the Phillies did, beating the Rockies. The Dodgers also closed ground by beating San Diego. So the Phillies are still alive, if not all that well in the East race. Kevin Burkhardt with more.
I say it's interesting because this team usually isn't fazed by much, good or bad, but you almost get the feeling that 4-game set in Philly angered them. They were vocal about it in Philadelphia, how some of the Phillies antics got them a little bit mad. And then today, going around the clubhouse just asking questions to a lot of the players, and I took a couple of answers just as an example. Moises Alou, I asked him, hey, is revenge on your mind? He said, I'd be lying to tell you no, because it is. We don't have to sweep, but we need to win. Lasting's Millage, the same question. He's like, yeah, we want to go out and beat these guys. So this team is pretty emotional and pretty vocal that they really want to go out and have a little payback here, which is a little bit uncharacteristic of them, guys.
Well, why not? After losing 4 straight and having the Phillies put a major crimp in their season, they have played their best baseball of the year since. David Wright's accounted for the only run of this game with his 29th home run. And he hits one to center field right at Rowan. David got another good cut against Moyer, but he's retired for the first out.
Well, we've talked about it this series all year. It started out, the Mets took 2 out of 3 here. They went to Philadelphia the first time. They split 2 games because the one was rained out. And then it got wacky. The Phillies took 3 here, swept them. Mets went back, took 3 out of 4 in Philly. And then they went back to Philly and they got swept 4. So it's been a real crazy competition this year with the Phils.
Well, the Phillies are used to losing. They're the only sports team that has lost 10,000 games.
They reached that sorry plateau earlier this season. Charlie Manuel's had to watch his pitchers drop like flies, and yet they're still alive. Even if they don't win the East, Mets could very well see the Phillies again in the League Championship Series if they both get that far. 2-0 to Beltran. Mets can't play the Phillies in the first round, even if they win, even if the Phillies win the wild card.
Ralph, you were around baseball a long time and a lot of pennant races. Unfortunately, not when you had the uniform on, but does any one season, what doesn't have to be the Mets, any one stretch run that was just an incredible season, an incredible finish that comes to mind for you?
Oh yeah, there's no question about the 69 Mets because they were like 13.5 games back of the Cubs, and that was on August 10th, and they came out to beat and won the whole thing, and they won by 10 games. And of course the Cubs at that time had some real showboats on the team, and they were really lording it over the New York Mets. And they also had the manager Leo DeRocher, so you wanted to beat Leo at any price, because Leo would stand in the dugout and say, "Stick it in his ear." That's all he ever said, which meant knock you down. And Leo was tough.
Well, he's the guy who coined the phrase "nice guys finish last."
That's right. He said that about Bill Terry.
2-0 to Beltran, who fly deep to left his first time up. And Moyer spending a lot of time on Castillo.
Well, Castillo's got 6 stolen bases as a Met, only caught once. And very interesting, he only stole 9 bases over in Minnesota before he came over here. He'd been much more active on the bases, and I think Ricky Henderson has a lot to do with that, as the first base coach.
I think being in a pennant race might have something to do with it too. Beltran takes a strike.
Well, one thing, he was a very good base hitter in his early career.
Well, that knee has become a factor. He's like a crate of fish after a game. He is so completely packed in ice.
I think he meant he smelled it.
No. I mean, he's got ice everywhere you can possibly look. And yet he's out there virtually every day. And even though clearly it's painful for him, the way he limps around, when he needs to go hard, he goes hard.
Well, he knows how to play the game.
There he goes. Beltran swings and misses, and Ruiz's throw is high. And Castillo has his 16th stolen base of the year.
Well, he can still run. There's no question about that. He didn't have a real good jump, but it was not bad. And the swing at the fastball, good for pitch to throw. He's down there, and he's safe by a big margin.
Hey, that's a pop-up slide. We haven't seen that in a while, have
That's
we?
an old-fashioned slide.
That's what Lou Brock used all the time. Lou Brock always said that the shortest distance between point A and point B is straight ahead. He did not like Maury Wills' hook slide route. He said that he thought it was fine, but said, I wanted to get to the base as fast as I could, and Lou was great at the pop-up slide, and the ball was overthrown. He was going to third.
He was gone. That's right. And he was, of course, one of the great wins of all time.
2-2 to Beltran. And he takes inside 3-2.
There's the pop-up. The foot goes into the bag, straight in, and when it hits the bag, it pulls you right up.
And you're ready to advance to the next base.
Fouled off his leg.
You know, the amazing thing, a lot of people think that the hit first slide was really brought about by Pete Rose. But Pepper Martin, who played for the St. Louis Cardinals, did that all the time. And that was back in the 1930s when he was sliding head first.
Playing with the Gas House game.
Yes. There's a new book out about the Gas House game that I have at home.
It's got to be great.
I haven't started yet. It starts with Branch Rickey and his life. I know you love Branch.
Oh, he's a great guy.
But I can't wait to read it this winter. It's going to be one of my winter readings.
Well, they had all kinds of players that could do things like can play the spoons and things like that. You know how they clank the spoons together. And they would dress up as painters and go into a hotel and paint the walls of the hotel. And, I mean, they were crazy. It was really Gas House all the way.
And of course, DeRocher, who you're talking about before,
he was on that team,
part of that group. Busy Dean and Joe Medwick.
And Ducky Medwick was really one great hitter.
Another cue shot. This one will stay foul.
I was fortunate enough to have Joe Ducky Medwick was the minor league hitting instructor my 3 years in the minor leagues with the Cardinals. He was the roving hitting instructor. And he had a bad hip, arthritic, and he got in the box one day in St. Pete. We weren't hitting, and he hadn't swung a bat. He said, we were pulling too much. And he said, I'll hit the ball. He told me 12 pitches. I'm sorry, 9 pitches. He hit one to left, one to center, one to right, then came back around center to right, then came back around again on every pitch. He threw the bat down and said, that's how it's done. He was like 79 years old or 75.
He was an amazing guy. He really was.
Last man to win the Triple Crown in the National League.
That's right. That was 1938, something like that.
3-2 to Beltran. There goes Castillo. It's ball 4 and no throw, and the Mets have runners at the corners. Castillo steals second and steals third.
That time he got a tremendous jump. There was no way in the world they're going to throw him out.
Well, not a big lead and just a great jump. And Ralph, we were talking that the Mets can beat you in so many ways. They can, with the bat, with speed, stolen bases, with defense, with power.
Well, the Mets now have 186 stolen bases for the season. That's the most by any team since the 1997 Cincinnati Reds. A couple of walks, couple of steals, and the Mets have first and third and one out for Alou, who flied to right his first time up. 1-0 New York, bottom of the fourth. And Alou fouls it away.
Of course, the one player that we didn't talk about on that Gas House game was Dizzy Dean.
Dizzy and Daffy. Daffy didn't like to be called Daffy.
Dizzy was, well, he took an x-ray of his head, and it showed nothing.
Dizzy, not only a great pitcher, but later an esteemed national broadcaster.
And a 30-game winner in the major leagues.
Line to the left field for a base hit, and Castillo will trot in to score. 2-0 New York.
All the stolen bases set that run up. Great job.
Moises Alou now with an 18-game hitting streak, the longest by a Met this year.
Well, he loves that pitch inside, and you can see him hurry it in. He brings his hands in, Ralph, to get that barrel of the bat through. He's so hard to beat inside.
He's got that fast bat, even at his age. And the hands come in, and it keeps the ball in fair territory. And then the bat follows the hands, and the hips are wide open. You got to get the hips cleared out to get that bat through.
So here's Conine, who took a call third strike, and Beltran stutter stepped. If Rollins was a little closer, they might have had him picked off.
There's a top hand getting on that ball and drilling it out to left field. Got to like that. I mentioned the other day, Keith, and I think you were listening or here, and he's like his dad. He hits the same as his dad did. Felipe Alou.
Conine pulls it foul.
Well, that was a sad day in San Francisco, and I know I feel like I'm repeating myself, but Felipe Alou was traded to the Braves in the, what, was it 62 or 63? I'm not sure. And that was a sad day for me. He was my favorite Giant.
You know, we got a note from Elias the other day about the Alous. They've all been very well traveled. Matty, Felipe, Jesus, and Moises, they all played for multiple teams. 0-1 to Conine. And he breaks his back, grounds it out to Utley, makes the tag, makes the toss, double play, side retired. 4-4-3 double play as the Mets tack on a run, and our thanks to Ralph Kiner. Ralph, we'll see you again soon.
Okay, good. Happy to be with you, and we'll see you soon. All
right, the Mets with a 2-0 lead.
Good work. All right, Keith.
Fifth inning, Mets with a 2-0 lead. Jamie Moyer getting out of further trouble thanks to Chase Utley's quick thinking.
Just focus on Utley at the right of your screen. He sensed right from the get-go that Alou wasn't going to be able to get by him, and he charged this ball immediately with the tag in mind, and then the easy finish of the double play. That is just good heads-up baseball, good instincts.
Aaron Rowan leads off the fifth inning. Rowan doubled down the left field line his first time up. One of only 2 hits off Glavine over the first 4. And he grounds another one down to third. This one handled by Wright. 1 pitch, 1 out. Time for a baseball night in New York update. Let's go to the studio and Chris Connor.
All right, Gary, Braves and Nationals top 1. They're loaded for Mark Teixeira, and he sends this one deep to left field. It's going to get to the wall. Yunel Escobar, Edgar Renteria both score. Braves leading now 3-1 in the top of the third.
All right, thanks, Chris. Looks a little rainy down in D.C., which is where we'll be heading after this series.
I think it's going to push out. That's part of that storm that hit in the Gulf. It's going to come up through here and be gone.
Jason Worth takes a strike. Worth hit a shot to short that ate up Reyes and went for an infield hit.
And I think Worth wants that piece of paper out of the infield. Yes. Castillo is going to come in and get it at second base. That always wanted. That was a
Now, you've seen film of Bobby Thompson's famous home run in 1951, right?
Yeah.
You ever notice how much paper is all over the infield when Rankin throws that pitch?
No.
I mean, it looks like a litter dump.
I would never pick up that stuff. I'd let the bat boy come and get it. I don't know where that came from. I don't know who was touching that piece of paper. I don't want it.
I hated to have any distraction.
But I think the standards have changed for how pristine the field has to be. I mean, after all, back in the 40s, they used to leave their gloves lying on the field.
Well, we used to always get a taste of it in Candlestick Park, though. Because of the wind there, you'd always have a lot of debris on the field.
There's nothing you can do in Candlestick on a windy day.
In the air to deep left field. Alou drifting back. Right at the wall. Leaps and he makes the catch. Had plenty of time with that ball hit high in the air and timed it perfectly. 2 down.
Well, a very appreciative Tom Glavine. Look at that, pointing to Moses. Change up in too much. And he got to the fence in plenty of time in that high fly ball. And because he got to the fence, it becomes a routine play.
Back in Endy's neighborhood.
And that ball may not have gone out.
So 2 out and nobody on. So the Phillies have hit 2 balls to the fence in the last 2 innings. Howard caught by Millage. Worth caught by Alou. There's a strike 1-1 to Ruiz. Ain't nothing to it.
He is great.
On the ground sharply to Reyes. And a quick inning for Tom Glavine, thanks in part to Moises Alou. Timing has jumped perfectly to take at least an extra base hit away from Jason Worth. Still 2-0 New York.
Well, the package it came in said salute Keith and slap on a stash.
Oh, and that's going to make all the mothers very happy.
See, joined right in the party. Very nice. Well, Keith has won 2 different mustache contests this year, and now everybody wants to get on the act.
They never look better.
Did you see the one Cotter had on tonight?
I did see it on the monitor. He looked good.
I'm not sure which joke store he bought it in. But I think he had you down.
Well, you remember in '84 when Seaver was on the team? Oh, '83.
'83.
And Seaver came out. Remember that second half with the cup of coffee and the Groucho Marx
That's right.
glasses and
the
big nose and the mustache.
Loduca flying to right his first time, and he hits the curveball slowly to Rollins. Plenty of time. 1 away. Well, it almost reminds me of the red rusty wigs.
That's right.
That you guys donned. What year was that? Was that '86?
I think that was '85. '85 was that year.
Strawberry in the red rusty wig.
Oh yes, that was the year that Rusty retired. There you go.
Unibrow.
There you go.
He's got the right idea.
You know, they've got places you can go for them.
Needs some laser treatment.
Electrolysis. Village creamed one his first time up. A line drive that Nunez made a lunging grab on. Village had that pinch hit triple the other night. He's handled lefties well all year.
Oh.
That's young Mr. Burkhardt.
Oh, nice.
How about
Boy, he's getting big.
and the lovely Mrs. Burkhardt.
Yeah, she's great. I remember seeing him in spring training. Boy, he's getting big.
Logan.
Must be something they put in the milk.
Right center field, deep. Rowan going back. He won't get there. And hops over the fence for a ground rule double for Millage. So Lastings Millage continues to hit the ball hard. 9th double of the year for Millage, and the Mets have a runner in scoring position with 1 out.
And this is what Lastings needs to do more of, and that is use the whole field. Jamie Moyer is not a guy that you're going to be a right-hand hitter and try to pull, and that is a good sign right there. Lastings tends to pull a little bit too much, and he has the ability to go the opposite field.
So now a chance for Glavine, who has 4 runs batted in this year. Grounded out to Utley his first time up. And why would you play for the bunt here?
They're not going to bunt, and I would not have Rollins holding Millage tight because Glavine goes the opposite field. I'd have Utley holding him on.
I mean, it's not a bunting situation, but it looks like, you know, Nunez and Howard, they're playing for a bunt. Glavine grounds it down to Howard. That's the second out as Millage moves over to third.
We'll take a look at Lasting's swing here from the side. Hands back. A little tap with the foot. All the hitters seem to do that today. Not an overstride. He's not one of the big striders, which I like. And he hits. That's the ball's on the outside corner going the other way with hitting it up at the plate.
That swing is already shorter than it was when he first came up.
Yes. So I guess the question is, if he can handle that pitch away from the lefties, can he get better at handling the pitch away from the right-handers?
Well, that's a whole different basket of eggs there, Gary.
Reyes takes a strike.
Because even if that pitch is away from a left-hander, it comes from outside back in a little bit, as opposed to the right-hander. It starts in the outside corner and moves off the plate. That's the pitch that he's having trouble handling.
He's having trouble with that good breaking ball, the slider down and away.
Reyes is 0 for 2, and he pops it up. Howard into foul ground. Side retired, and Reyes did not run, even though that was not foul by all that much. A double and 1 left. 5 in the books at Shea. Still 2-0 New York. Now you can catch the animated antics of the hit show Family Guy twice a night on the CW11. That's 2 chances every weeknight to laugh along with the funniest family on TV. Don't miss Family Guy weeknights on the CW11. Abraham Nunez leads off the 6th inning and takes ball 1. Nunez popped to second base his first time up. Getting the start at third base tonight. Two and 0 to Nunez. Getting 8th in the order with Jamie Moyer on deck. Glavine allowed back-to-back hits in the second and nothing since. But now he's behind on Nunez 3-0. Glavine has not walked a batter tonight. Very low pitch count, as does Moyer. Moyer's thrown only 57 pitches through 5. But he walks Nunez on 4 pitches. So after Glavine had retired to 10 in a row, all of a sudden a leadoff walk to Abraham Nunez here in the 6th inning.
Well, that's the tough part. You don't want to do that with walking Nunez hitting 238 this year. You want to take a chance, let him hit the ball somewhere. Now, you know, but Glavine's been great all year. Last start, 86 pitches in 7 innings, so he's been great at you know, economy of his pitches. What do you think, Keith?
I didn't hear a word you said.
Moyer trying to bunt takes a strike. Oh my. I've always wondered what it felt like.
Oh.
Wright coming all the way in on top of Moyer. Loduca fields the bunt, looks to second, but takes the shore out. 2-4 on the sacrifice, moving Nunez up.
Well, that's a tough bunt here because Wright comes down on him, but Jamie Moyer is able to deaden it just enough. A little peek by Loduca. He knows he doesn't have a chance. Reyes even points over. Plays at first base.
Hey, communication's a good thing. Not enough guys can tell you where to throw the ball and help you out.
So Moyer has his 8th sacrifice of the year. The Phillies have a runner in scoring position for the 2nd time tonight. And here's Rollins, who's 0 for 2. He's been very aggressive tonight. He takes ball 1. Rollins 3 home runs away from a 30-30 season. Leads the league in runs scored with 126. Just strength 101. National League East is blessed with 3 extraordinarily talented shortstops. We'll see the third one next weekend when we go to Florida. And Hanley Ramirez. Rollins hits it off the hands. And now Lou over toward the line. That's the second out. Glavine getting good mileage on the inside part of the plate, and there are 2 out. Well, there's the matchup between Rollins and Reyes, and of course Reyes' big advantage in on-base percentage has narrowed somewhat over the last few weeks.
Well, Rollins has been steady all year, and obviously Rollins having more of a power year, but then again, how many home runs would Reyes have if he was playing 81 games in Citizens Bank Park?
Of course, Reyes with the huge advantage in stolen bases.
Still can't take away from Rollins. 79 extra base hits. That's just outstanding.
Here's Chase Utley, and he takes ball 1. And then you factor in the defense, and you certainly have to give Reyes the edge there. Not that Rollins is a slouch.
And the edge and age, of course. So far for this young man to go.
Utley's flying to center field in both of his at-bats tonight. Nunez at second and 2 out. Glavine misses away with a changeup. It's 2-0. Can we take these off now, Ronnie?
I tell you, I don't know how you have a mustache. I think I already have some chafing. I think it's going into my nostrils, the stuff from the mustache. How do you do it? You got to be a special person.
You got to be tough.
Well, I carried a beard and a mustache for a long time.
You did?
My 20s, yeah.
And how far in your 20s?
Most of my 20s.
Why did you get rid of the mustache?
Get a
Don't
job.
answer that.
It didn't look as good as yours.
Look at this guy.
It looked more like that. Like he had a bat on his head. Popped up foul, backing out of play. So Utley up there swinging 3-0. But it seems to be a community-wide effort here. Everybody's got the Keith stashes going.
Well, that last shot, the girlfriend looked like she liked it.
Don't go there. Don't go there.
I just can't even imagine what to say. 3-1 to Utley. Bounced off his foot. A foul ball, and it's 3-2.
Well, Chase Utley, I think the biggest improvement from Chase from his rookie year is his advancement as far as hitting left-handers. When he first came up, he had enormous difficulty, and now he seemed to have solved the problem.
Utley the tying run at the plate in a 2-0 game. 3-2 from Glavine. Hit in the air to right field. That's deep. Back goes Millage. Back onto the track. Back at the wall. And it's out of here. Chase Utley ties the game with a 2-run homer. His 20th of the year. Tom Glavine had gone 57 innings without giving up a home run. But Utley gets a hold of a 3-2 pitch and ties up the game at 2.
Well, this is a fastball in and missed a little bit. You see LaDuca's glove come a little bit over the middle, and that was the difference. And give credit to Utley there. That was a 3-2 count, and he is so quick.
Well, now here's Pat Burrell, and he takes ball 1.
I think you have to give credit to Utley. You have to give credit to Pat Burrell, who's hitting behind Utley. Looks like Glavine wanted to challenge Utley in that situation and came up a little short as Trelly Manuel is happy. He now has 5 guys in his lineup who have hit 20 home runs or more.
And that has never happened before in Phillies history. So Utley now with 96 runs batted in, and that's with missing a month with that broken hand that he suffered when John Lannon of the Nationals hit him. 2-1 to Burrell. Shaw wasn't agreeing with him. And it's 3-1.
Well, I don't think that Glavine wants anything to do right now with falling behind the count to Pat.
We got Ryan Howard on deck, who's hit 2 deep fly balls in his first 2 at bats. One of them caught right at the fence by Millage. And Burrell draws a walk. Well, Glavine had a couple of near misses. The ball that Howard hit in the 4th inning, the ball Worth hit that Lou may have robbed him of a home run on in the 5th inning. But Utley finally found the range, and now Burrell aboard with 2 out for Ryan Howard.
And that was Pat Burrell's 103rd walk of the season, and only 1 intentional pass all year, so he's earned them.
3rd in the league in walks is Burrell. So now Glavine needs to dig in against Howard. He's already hit 2 deep fly balls. Only to see both of them caught. The overshift is on in the infield, and Howard takes a fastball for a strike.
It's interesting with Howard, isn't it? When he hits the ball to right field, he has incredible top spin on the ball. Just the opposite when he hits the ball to left field. It has that underspin that the ball seems to carry.
Well, he's been pulling a lot this year, and that has been the reason why he hasn't had the season average-wise that he did last year. Obviously, his big MVP season. And he struggled against lefties now in the season when hitting under 230, around 229 against lefties.
58 home runs last year, just 38 this season for Howard. And he grounds one into the shift. Castillo gets over in front of it, and that retires the side. So the shift paid dividends there, but the Phillies get the game even on Chase Utley's 20th home run of the year. First given up in 9 starts by Tom Glavine, and it's good enough for the Phillies to tie the game at 2-2 as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Luis Castillo leads off the home 6th inning after Chase Utley's home run tied the game. Castillo walked, stole 2nd, stole 3rd, and scored a run in the 4th inning. And he pulls it foul. 1-1 to Castillo. As we check out our Aflac trivia question for tonight, Jose Salou, 18-game hitting streak. What 2 players share the Mets' single-season record for longest hitting streaks?
I think I know that.
Up the middle, Utley can't make the backhand play, and Castillo's got an infield hit. A squirrely ground ball found the right spot, and the Mets get the lead run aboard to start the 6th inning. Time to check in with the studio. A baseball night in New York update, and Chris Cotter.
All right, guys, let's go to Boston. No score in the 2nd between the Yanks and Red Sox. Jacoby Ellsbury, the RBI single past Robbie Cano. Good Yuntif. Kevin Youkilis scores. Red Sox lead 2-0 bottom of the 3rd.
All right, Chris. These games just seem to take a long time to play, don't they?
They're only in the 3rd inning.
Here's David Wright, who provided the keynote tonight with his 29th home run of the year. And he takes inside 1-0. It was our Coors Light cold blast. 3rd batter up against Moyer.
That was the first pitch that David saw in the ballgame. That's how good he feels at the plate, and that brings him 1 home run shy of the 30-30 club.
99 runs scored, 97 RBIs for Wright. Look at that. He's reached in half of his last 90 plate appearances.
He's having just a terrific finish.
And David hits the double play ball right at Rollins. Utley with the easy turn. 6-4-3, 2 out and nobody on.
Well, let me tell the folks out there one thing on that at bat with David. That is a good swing you put on the ball, and it's a double play, and you think it's a bad at bat. This is not a bad at bat. This is a good swing on a breaking ball. Look at him wait, and just just missed it, just a little bit out in front, but a good swing. You got 8 gloves out there. You can hit the ball hard at people and come up showing nothing for it. But David knows that he's got a good swing on that one.
Well, he's hit 3 balls hard tonight. Has only 1 hit, the home run. But the ball he hit to center field in the 4th inning and that double play ball, both well struck. So 2 out and nobody on for Beltran, who's flied out and walked tonight. And he takes the curveball for a strike.
And once again, Jamie Moyer making like Lefty Grove against the Metsies.
1-1 in his 3 starts against the Mets this year. But at this point, you know, you look at the Phillies rotation, and you got Jamie Moyer, you got Kyle Kendrick, and Really, they're not getting much out of anybody else. In the air to right and playable for Worth. And so Moyer, after the leadoff base hit by Castillo, gets through the inning quickly. We go to the 7th, still 2-2. Your postseason has come. Register for your opportunity to buy tickets to potential 2007 Mets postseason games at Shea. The deadline to register for the National League Championship Series drawing is Monday, September 24th at midnight. For more information, go to Mets.com or LosMets.com today. It is Dog Day here at Shea, and it is a packed house out of the picnic area. And, you know, these dogs are so well behaved. If I brought my dogs to this event,
forget it.
They would be having a nervous breakdown.
My dogs would be a beating.
We were thinking of bringing Dunkey here, but it would have been too much overload.
Aaron Rowan takes a strike.
I've been a 100-pound dog on sensory overload with Kai having to handle, and that would have been very difficult.
Yeah. Look how well behaved that young dog is. That's just sweet. I brought my 95-pound Weimaraner Riley here. She barks at the slightest provocation when something's 1,000 yards away.
Oh, look at the big guy.
Or Dane.
Great Dane.
Did he purchase an extra seat?
Yeah.
0-2 to Rowan. Change up hit. Back past the mound. Glavine let it go for Reyes. Good decision. One away.
Beautiful use of the count. 0-2 count. Throws something just 3, 4, 5 inches outside. Close enough. So Rowan had to go for it. Can't let it pass, especially with the home plate. Strikes on the home plate umpire Paul Emmel. Produces an out for Tom Glavine.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Jason Worth, who had an infield hit, and then that fly ball to the left field fence that Moises Alou made a jumping catch on. And we looked at the last replay. It looked like it probably was going to be a home run.
Yeah, I think it would at least hit the top of the fence, or maybe one of those scrapers just over the fence.
Worth has not been hitting a lot of home runs, but he has been hitting for a high average and driving in a ton of runs.
Which I don't know. He's a young player, but he has taken so many fastballs, and that was a changeup he almost hit for a home run, which makes me feel like maybe he's sitting on changeup in tonight's game.
Rolls over that one to third, and David Wright makes the running throw. 2 down. I want to pass along our belated congratulations to our technical director Jason Lobb and his wife Christine, the proud parents of not 1 but 2 youngsters, James and Mia, who were born last week. It is a double blessing.
2 for the price of 1. Double your pleasure, double your fun.
So to Jason, and more importantly to Christine, who did all the work.
Yes.
Our heartiest congratulations.
Yes.
As a call strike to Carlos Ruiz, 0-1. Second set of twins we've had around here this year.
Yes.
Wow. Richie, our audio guy, has his 2 for the price of 1 at home. And every once in a while Richie sleeps.
Does that mean you have to hire 2 nannies?
No nannies for Richie. You're an instigator, by the way.
You just look for trouble wherever you go, don't you? 2-1 to Ruiz, who's grounded out both of his at bats once into a double play, and it's 3-1. Next you're going to be talking about your perambulator.
Oh boy, what a game.
Foul back. By the way, do you notice Mr. Met donned the mustache tonight?
I missed it.
He doesn't want to go
on. I see him.
He doesn't want to go incognito because today's a big day for Mr. Met.
There he is.
Mr. Met,
Let's see.
inducted into the Mascot Hall of Fame.
Congratulations.
Grounded down to right. He gives ground. Ruiz getting down the line. Right throws him out by a stride. Side retired. 3 up, 3 ground ball outs against Glavine. David Wright up to the task on this one. 7th inning stretch time at Shea. Mets and Phillies all tied up. To answer our Aflac trivia question, we ask you who have the two players have the longest single-season hitting streak in Mets history. You probably know this one. Hubie Brooks set the record. Mike Piazza tied it. But if you're a real fan, then you know whose record Hubie Brooks broke.
Oh, that's right. We should know, Ronnie, 84. I'll tell you something. We traded Hubie for Gary Carter, and that was the last piece of the puzzle. But we wouldn't have won without Gary behind the plate, but we missed Hubie. We loved Hubie so much.
Oh, it would have been great if he hadn't to be the chum or the bait to get Carter, because he not only was he a great player, never seen many players hit the ball harder than Hubie did, but just a great teammate. Just great in that clubhouse, and you know, he did a lot of great things that led up to some of those great teams in 84, 85, 86.
Well, Mets got Hubie back toward the end of his career for a second tour of duty. Moises Alou takes inside. So do you know?
No, not Crankle. Mike Vail.
Very good. Nice call.
Wow.
Mike Vail, my first minor league roommate.
He hit in 23 straight games right after he was called up. Did it as a rookie. Now Lou has driven in one of the 2 runs for the Mets tonight. Also made a terrific catch in left field, and he takes the curve outside from Moyer, and now it's 2-0 to Alou, who tonight extended his hitting streak to 18 straight games. Well, there's Antonio Alfonseca, who today was suspended by Major League Baseball for 4 games for hitting Todd Helton the other night, but he's appealing that, so he is eligible tonight. And Moyer misses inside with the fastball to fall behind 3-0.
Alfonseca, of course, responding to the hit batter of Jason Worth earlier in the game, came in and threw one right at the coconut of Todd Helton.
Get him on the arm. So he'll appeal that 4-game suspension. 3-0 to Alou, and he takes a strike.
3-0 changeup.
You know, Gary, games like this, you're playing them in the field. It's almost 2 good pitchers out there. Great stuff. Late in the game, it's like which pitcher is going to blink first.
Yeah.
Moyer's only thrown 70 pitches tonight, and Alou bounces one foul. Jeff Conine on deck, and then Paul LaDuca, right-hand hitters all against Moyer. Tom Glavine had a 2-0 lead, but Chase Utley's 2-run homer tied the game. And now Moyer, knowing that the bullpen has sometimes been leaky for the Phillies this year, trying to go as long as he can. The Philly bullpen's pitched better against the Mets than they have against anybody else.
And they were great yesterday's ball game, where J.D. Durbin only went 1 inning. They had 8 innings of relief with only giving up 1 run, as Alfonseca and J.C. Romero up in the bullpen.
Romero's done a great job for them. Released by the Red Sox, for whom he didn't do very good work, but he's been much better as a Philly. 3-2 to Alou, leading off the home 7th. Hits it off the end of the bat, down to Ryan Howard. Grabs the spinner, flips it to Moyer, 1 away. So 1 out and nobody on. The street games continue on SNY as the arm wrestlers lock their wrists on the tables, and the games also hit the water. So grab your paddles for Crew Street Games, presented by Pontiac, Thursday at 10 p.m. only on SNY. Crew you could only play in the streets in Venice.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe San Antonio.
That's unfortunate. Here's Conine, who has struck out and grounded into a double play, and he takes ball 1. Conine got his old number back tonight. So far, it has not been a lucky number for him. Hits this one to shallow left center. He broke his bat. Out goes Rollins over the shoulder, and he grabs it. Nobody else was going to get there. It was all on Rollins, and he went a long way to catch that pop-up coming down over his shoulder.
Well, both Burrell and Rowan playing very deep late in the tie ball game here, and watch Rollins right here. Look at how far he's got to run. That's a long way to go and get a ball. That's a great play. Touchdown.
That's like taking off after a Ray Guy punt right there as he hit one over your head.
Ray Guy.
Well, Jimmy Rollins grew up watching the Oakland Raiders. Growing up in Alameda, California.
I was right across the bay watching the Raiders myself.
2 out and nobody on. Here's Paul LaDuca. LaDuca's 0 for 2. Line to right, grounded to short. And he takes the curveball for a strike. Kudos to Jamie Moyer. He's pitched a terrific game tonight. Greeted by the David Wright home run in the first. A couple of walks hurt him in the fourth.
Right through the wickets. Utley on the backhand. Jumping throw, and he got him. Outstanding play by Chase Utley on a ball hit back between the pitcher's legs. Utley made the play nonetheless. The pretty backhand and the jumping toss. And they get LaDuca. 2 outstanding defensive plays by Rollins and by Utley. We go to the 8th here at Shea, still tied at 2.
An all-new Mets Weekly looks at the impact Luis Castillo has made on the team and how his presence has helped the bench. A new episode of Mets Weekly at a special time, Saturday at 11:30 a.m. only on SNY. And Abraham Nunez dumps one in along the right field line, and he's got himself a leadoff hit in the 8th inning. So Nunez, who might have had the off walk, this time it's a little parachute down the right field line that falls for a hit.
Well, Nunez could have had 2 here. He's not running, see? This ball's plainly going to stay fair. I don't know what he's looking at. I think if he's running, he's got a shot to get 2 here. What's he waiting on? Get on your horse.
So Nunez aboard, and Jamie Moyer will stay into bunt, which he did successfully in the 6th inning. Moyer's thrown only 75 pitches through 7 innings. So you have to figure that even had Nunez not reached, they probably would have left Moyer in anyway.
Well, for all you hard throwers that are trying to break the speed gun in the minor leagues, here you got 85 years of experience between Moyer and Glavine, and they're both out there for the 8th inning.
How about that? Look at David Wright there playing aggressively in at 3rd, putting a lot of pressure on Moyer. Creeping in. Nicely done. Pressure applied.
Keith, do you remember? Of course you do remember. You used to come to the mound in this situation and say, hey, listen, give me 2 throws over, and then the 3rd one go to the plate because I'm going to bust.
Right. We had the timing play.
Yeah.
And we'd always give a sequence of 3 pitches.
Wright comes creeping in. Moyer pops it up, but beyond anybody's reach, back on the screen. But now it's 0-2 to Moyer.
Should we explain that to the fans?
Yeah, why don't you explain it?
Well, the reason why I got such great jumps on bunts was when I came over from St. Louis, we worked on it and we had it, and I came over to the Mets, and we had timing plays with the pitchers on bunts, on obvious bunt situations like Moyer right now.
And Moyer bunts it in the air.
Diving catch by Wright. Can he double him up? He can! Brilliant play by David Wright for the double play. And it all starts with playing in so tight to the bunter.
Well, there's no question here. And David busting, and you're absolutely right, playing that tight. He's able to make that kind of play, and that's just good hustle. You can slough it, play in and not really charge. And David playing it 100%. And that's a final plays you're going to see. And Nunez got caught in between.
Well, can we see a picture of that again? Because if you watch LaDuca gives the fake like he's going to play it on the bounce, and that definitely had an influence on Ruiz whether to go back or not.
0-1 to Rollins, who takes low and away, 1-1.
Watch LaDuca here. He'll give a fake like he's going to catch it on the ground. It comes right out of nowhere. Ruiz, toast.
Great play by David. That's just great play because of great hustle.
Glavine keeps it away from Rollins, 2-1.
It's a fine ball game. It's good old country hardball here.
Well, David Wright has been so aggressive on bunt plays all year. And it really paid off for the Mets there. 2-2 to Rollins.
Well, Keith, remember that last game against Philadelphia where the Mets lost 11-10. I think both you and I talked to David right after the game and said it was one of the finest efforts we've seen in a big game. Well, he is coming up big in all the big games now.
It certainly is.
2-2 to Rollins. Hits slowly. Wright has to charge, but it goes foul. Good thing, because there's no way he would have thrown out Rollins if that's a fair ball.
Well, David's got a little lightness in his feet, and you know this weather has changed now. The humidity's gone. The cooler nights. It's like coming out of spring training in April when it's chilly and it just gives you a second wind.
Don't forget the haircut. 2-2 to Rollins. Chopped foul. Well, in every big spot in games between the Mets and Phillies this year, Jimmy Rollins has been standing in the Mets' way.
Yes.
He hit that huge home run here at Shea back in June against Aaron Howman that seemed to give the Phillies life. And he has backed up his preseason statement all year. Hit toward the gap in left center field. That's a base hit for Rollins. Beltran gets over to cut it off, and Rollins, after a wide turn, will hold it first.
Well, David Wright's play right now is Davey Lopes, the first base coach, the former Dodger. Well, Wright's play, nice hitting on a changeup, up and away, belt high. That's a go-ahead base hit right there. If Wright does not make that play.
And that's going to be all for Tom Glavine. Willie Randolph on his way out to the mound. Pedro Feliciano will be brought on to face Chase Utley, who took Glavine deep in his last at bat.
That's a tough no decision.
He hopes.
Well-deserved cheers. Another fine effort by Glavine. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Verizon. Switch to Verizon Fios. TV, internet, phone. It's the most advanced fiber optic network straight to your home. Tom Glavine done after 7 2/3 innings, and hoping that Pedro Feliciano can get the big left-hand hitter out.
Well, he's got to watch Rollins too at first base, the potential stolen base.
And Utley takes a slider for a strike. Utley just 3 for 15 against Feliciano, but one of those 3 was a home run against Feliciano earlier this season.
Left center field.
You got Rollins, a base stealer at first. Tie game, 8th inning. And Feliciano checks in on Rollins, who's stolen 32 this year.
Well, Feliciano, the left-hander holding the runner on Rollins at first, has a decent move, but not a great move. The thing that saves him is usually pretty quick to the plate.
And Utley rails at the slider. 2 good ones in a row by Feliciano, and it's 0-2.
Well, this had nice downward movement. That plane, see, that goes down and underneath the bat of Utley. Also, he took a little off that slider.
Feliciano came in Wednesday night to try and get Brian McCann out, but wound up walking him. Here attacking Utley with breaking balls. Rollins runs. Loduca's throw is not a good one, and Rollins has the stolen base, his 33rd of the year. So now the go-ahead run is in scoring position.
Well, it's a great time to steal 0-2, because what happens to a lot of pitchers is they concentrate so hard on that 0-2 pitch that they forget about the runner at first base, and I think that's what's happened there.
Now a base hit puts the Phils ahead, and Feliciano's here to get this left-handed out. You can forget the open base. This is what the game's all about right here. These matchups late in the ball game.
Feliciano ahead 1-2. Hit down the left field line, slicing foul. Now this tied up the ball game in the 6th inning. Mets were up 2-0. And then along came Utley.
Well, one of the few mistakes that Tom made tonight, and made it to one of the best hitters in the game.
currently leading the National League in batting. Breaking ball hit to short. Reyes ignores Rollins, throws out Utley, side retired. Feliciano gets the job done. Reyes makes the play with the impediment in front of him, and Utley is retired. To the bottom of the 8th we go. Mets and Phillies still tied at 2. Have any chance of staying in the National League East race. Of course, they're just a game and a half back in the wild card. Tomorrow on the CW11, Pedro Martinez makes his 3rd start, coming back from rotator cuff surgery against Kyle Loesch, who's been pitching pretty well of late for the Phillies. And then Sunday here on SNY, Oliver Perez, who pitched a gem in his last outing against Adam Eaton. All of that brought to you by Mazda. David Wright's had a huge hand in this game with a home run and an outstanding defensive play that might have helped save the Mets in that top of the 8th inning.
Well, J.C. Romero has been fantastic since joining the Phillies from the Red Sox with a 1.73 ERA. But he played a big part in that 4-game series in Philadelphia, getting some key outs. And left-handers only hitting 121 against him, although he is facing Mr. Millage to lead off this inning.
But why is Jamie Moyer not in the game? Moyer threw 76 pitches, and he took the turn at bat in the top of the 8th to bunt, and now he's not in there. Millage has hit 2 balls very hard tonight. Inside it hit him, and the Mets have the lead man on. Well, Millage often seems to have a magnet attached to him. This one could work well for the Mets. It's the last thing in the world Charlie Manuel wanted to see. Now Carlos Gomez is coming up as a pinch hitter.
Oh, wants to come inside.
Well, that's just clueless. I mean, to be that far away from where you're trying to throw the pitch on the first pitch of coming in as a reliever is just unacceptable in my books. I mean, you just can't start an inning like that. Moyer's out of the game. I don't know whether he hurt something running on the bases at first, but you know, it's either got to be injury or a manager's decision. And if Charlie Manuel made that decision, to me, it's wrong.
So here is Gomez to pinch hit, and you expect a bunt in this situation, and he's just been down for a face-to-face chat with Sandy Alomar just to make sure he knows the signs. Millage at first and nobody out. 2-2 bottom of the 8th. And Gomez fouls it off.
Tell me this isn't what happened on the bench, Keith. When a guy has been schooling you all game long as Tom Gordon gets ready, he's been schooling you all game long, and they take him out. Don't you have a sense of relief and go, boy, thank God he's out of the game. Get someone new in there.
George Hendrick used to sit in the bench in St. Louis, one of my great teammates, George, and say, hey, all you guys, don't be afraid to knock this guy out.
They're shortened up all around the infield with Gomez having bunted the first pitch foul. And Romero trying to find out. Gomez didn't give it away.
Well, Gomez likes to show off his great speed. And right here, he's just got to put the bunt down.
So many guys who bunt for hits don't necessarily know how to sacrifice. He lays this one down foul. And now Gomez is in a 2-strike hole.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what Willie Randolph does here if he takes the bunt off with 2 strikes.
Well, I think with Gomez's speed, the double play threat isn't there. So you got to let him swing.
The things, though, that happen late in the season are some of the reasons you do or do not make a playoff roster. And these are the little things. If Carlos Gomez makes the team, it'll be to pinch run. It'll be to come up and bunt. It'll be to go out in the outfield and play some great D.
It's an excellent point. So Nunez back on the cutout at third, figuring the bunt will not be on here. And Gomez steps out and takes another long look down at Sandy Alomar. And Willie's hoping that he knows the signs.
Look of apprehension.
Oh, 2 to Gomez. And he bunts it. Fair ball. Play at second. Millage is out. Gomez didn't get the ball far enough away from Ruiz, who made a perfect throw for a 2-6 force on Millage for the first out.
Well, nice play by Ruiz here. The play's in front of him and very aggressive. You always like to see your infielders play, all your defensive players play it aggressively. He knows it's right in front. He didn't even hesitate. And that's what the speedy Millage. Nice play.
So now here's the other part of Gomez's potential role in the postseason. He's on first base.
And he's a potential stolen base threat.
But you got a lefty on the mound, and now the question is, do you put him on his own? Do you give him a specific spot to try and run in? Or do you wait for Reyes to do the damage with his bat?
Stole 9 bases in 11 attempts, only thrown out twice. I would have to have a hold on.
I would too. I'll put a hold on the young player.
Reyes 0 for 3 tonight. There goes Gomez. Ruiz with the throw into the runner, and not in time. It goes into center field, but Gomez did not pick it up in time. And so we'll have to hold it second. And remember the pop-up slide by Castillo earlier as opposed to that head-first slide? Pop-up slide is on third base.
Oh, it's a good pitch to throw. Tough chance for Rollins. He doesn't see the ball because he's head-first sliding. And I've never liked the head-first slide, but what are you going to do?
But wow, what a great steal of second base, though. Great jump off Romero.
So Willie letting them loose and playing very aggressive here. You got the speed, use it. Why not?
It's third stolen base of the night, 187 for the year. And now the Mets are a base hit away from regaining the lead. Reyes 0 for 3 tonight. And he takes a strike from Romero.
Well, the Mets have already talked about the ways the Mets can beat you, the different ways. The Mets have already manufactured a run today through the stolen base. Castillo back in the fourth, stealing second and third. And now another opportunity here with the go-ahead run on second base by the stolen base again.
Gomez can score on just about any base hit to the outfield. One and one to Reyes. In tight with the fastball, 2-1.
Well, I do have to say, I said probably put a hold on the young man as we see Billy Wagner getting ready, but good to see. Has confidence enough to let the young man steal a base, and boy, he did.
Reyes fouls it off. Reyes got off to a great start this year with runners in scoring position. It's been a lot tougher lately. But he's hitting about 55 points higher from the right side this year than he is from the left side.
He has more of a natural swing from the right side of the plate. And I think he's got more pop from the right side.
2-2 to Jose. Little number past the mound. Utley coming in. The throw will not be made. Gomez falls at third, and the Mets have runners at the corner. Infield hit for Reyes. And good base running by Gomez not to get hung out around third base.
Well, Willie flashing signs quickly. And if it was a right-hand pitcher running, they make the play.
Yes.
So Jose right there.
Good job by Alomar. You see the third base. Sandy Alomar held him at third base, screaming at him to stay close to the bag.
Well, Utley's first thought when he fielded that ball was that Gomez might take too wide a turn, but he didn't.
Well, they're going to have a little conference out there in the mound, the Phils. There's so many options that Willie has right now. Runners on first and third, one out.
Especially with Reyes at first, every chance they'll try and steal second. And with Gomez at third, they can't afford to throw through, can they?
And Castillo, who can bunt. A squeeze is a very real possibility.
I personally would throw through, with the play being the shortstop comes and greets the ball and try to get a young runner on third base to maybe see that the ball has gone through and try to come home.
But if he gets a good enough jump with his speed, can't he still beat that play? Gomez.
Oh, Gomez, yeah, absolutely he can. But I don't know. I think you just have to come into 2 or 3 more steps. Rollins does.
You've got a first baseman that has to hold the runner on first. A left-hand pitcher following through to the third base side of the infield. A squeeze play, a bunt down the first base line. Gomez can walk home.
Well, he doesn't usually squeeze. And Castillo takes a strike.
No, the other play, Gary, that you can do is just straight Ruiz with that good arm, straight to third base. Try to pick off Gomez at third.
Well, we see who did it recently. The ball fired back to the mound and catching the runner off third that way.
Yeah, forgot who that was.
Castillo 1 for 2. He's stolen 2 bases today. He scored a run. Lashes it foul, and now Romero ahead 0-2.
Well, that takes away any of the squeeze, and not just saying, this is one of the options that Willie had. He opted not to squeeze, and Gary, you called it. Willie does not like to squeeze, but now that's off the table.
Well, the runner's got to be alive now. Romero has that good curveball that he likes to bounce when he's ahead in the count.
Remember, you got David Wright standing on deck. Mets 2, Phillies 2, bottom of the 8th. Tremendous speed at both corners. And Castillo goes down swinging. So Castillo, who's tough to fan, strikes out for the second out.
Well, there's that breaking ball down and in. Just trying to get a piece of it. Castillo unable to.
Well, Romero does his job. Now Charlie Manuel's going to go to the right-hander. Corey David Wright's home run got the Mets started. Moises Alou now has an 18-game hitting streak. And the Mets with an opportunity in the 8th inning to regain the lead in a 2-2 tie. Now facing Flash Gordon.
Well, career strikeouts among relief pitchers, active relief pitchers. 6th is Tom Gordon with 878 in his fine career. Began his career as a starter, but now has 6 1/3 scoreless innings currently against the Mets.
Doesn't pitch that well against everybody else, but he pitched fine against the Mets. And well, here's David Wright in another one of those MVP creating situations. 1st and 3rd and 2 down. 2-2 game in the bottom of the 8th. David hit a home run back in the 1st inning, his 29th of the year. And Gordon hit him. J.C. Romero's first pitch out of the bullpen hit Millage. Gordon's first pitch out of the bullpen hits Wright. And the bases are loaded for Carlos Beltran.
Well, not the intention. This is a tight part of the ballgame. You want a fastball in, and you're going to miss, you're going to miss in, Ron. You're not going to make a mistake over the middle. I wouldn't be horribly upset over this, Charlie. Rolaids for Charles.
So here's Beltran, who's 0 for 2 and a walk. Bases loaded, 2 out. And the breaking ball stays high. That's what Gordon's got to throw against Beltran. Gomez the lead run at 3rd, Reyes at 2nd, and Wright at 1st. Good speed all the way around. And Beltran fouls it off.
Well, there's that breaking ball that gives Carlos so much trouble from the left side of the plate. There's his numbers from the 7th inning on. That good 12-6 hard, sharp breaking ball down gives Carlos trouble.
Well, left fielder Burrow is usually out of the game by this time. Still in left field, very deep.
Beltran 1 for 8 in his career against Gordon. That one was a home run. The Mets have not hit a grand slam this entire season.
It's only a game.
Not to her.
Foul back.
Oh, he had a pitch to hit. Woo.
Well, this is El Hangaroony right here. Carlos had a great cut at it.
Well, he's thrown him 3 straight breaking balls. Does he throw him another here?
Yeah, but if he does, he's got to throw it into 3rd. If he throws it in 3rd, Gomez has got to be ready at 3rd.
Gomez has a pretty wide lead coming down the line. Beltran hits it foul. So he came with the fastball on 1 and 2, the first he's seen.
Well, up in the strike zone, I got to believe, Ronnie, like you said, he's got to come with that hard breaking ball in the dirt.
Well, that was a setup pitch, but it got away from him. He's trying to throw that up and in. Got away from him as a bled back over the plate. Now that should set up the breaking ball.
A rough year for Gordon. Spent about half the season on the disabled list. 1 and 2 to Beltran. Checks his swing on the high fastball, and he held it in time. Ron Coper with the call. It's 2 and 2.
Well, another up the ladder here and much higher. Now's the time in the curve in the dirt.
Beltran swings and misses, and Gordon strikes out Beltran with the bases loaded to keep the Mets off the board. The Mets load him, but leave him fall. We go to the 9th, tied at 2. Billy Wagner on to pitch the 9th inning. Billy's given up 5 home runs this year, 2 of them to the guys about to face.
He's only given up 18 runs all year, but 4 to the Philadelphia Phillies.
Here's his old nemesis, Pat Burrell, and he takes ball 1 from Wagner, who blew a save in his last outing in Philadelphia in that 11-10 game, thanks in part to Burrell's home run, but has kicked it in gear ever since, as has this entire Met team. And Burrell takes the slider low, 2-0.
That home run, if you remember from Met fans, was in the 8th inning. Billy was called on to get 6 outs, the 8th and 9th inning, and that key home run by Burrell got them 1 run closer, and they closed it out in the 9th inning.
2-0 to Burrell, and it's taken for a strike at the knees. Well, remember, the first home run Burrell hit was another game here at Shea in June that Billy was brought in the 8th inning. Got through the 8th, and then Burrell homered leading off the 9th to tie up that game. And that was Billy's first blown save of the year. And a slider in for a strike, and he gets even on Burrell, 2 and 2.
Interesting slider from Wagner. Very small, not that big sweeping kind of slider that he usually throws.
Burrell's 0 for 2 and a walk tonight. And the slider in there for a call, 3rd strike. Burrell down, looking 1 away.
Well, let me tell you, this slider is perfect. Late breaking, completely fooling Burrell. That's if he drew it up on the blackboard. That's how Wagner would want to throw his slider.
A little borderline knees, but too close to take with 2 strikes.
So now here's Ryan Howard, and Wagner hasn't had much luck against him either. Howard is 3 for 6 against Billy. That's put on the overshift against Howard. It worked out the last time as he hit one to Castillo, who was playing back in the outfield. Castillo not quite as deep this time. Howard is 0 for 3. It's a foul off the left side.
I think the trouble spot for Billy with Howard would be anything up and out over the plate. I think if he can jam him with that fastball, he's in good shape. I think if he can throw that slider down and away, he's in good shape. But any fastball up, out over the plate, Howard has so much power to left field.
Oh, good cut, good fastball. It was power against power, mano a mano.
So LaDuca wanted that ball in. That ball came a little bit over the plate. No stride by Howard.
So now Howard in a 2-strike hole. Breaking ball. Did he go? He went around, strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts for Wagner of Burrell and Howard, 2 men down.
Good slider here. This is a foul tip by Howard into the glove of LaDuca. Just catches a little bit of it. LaDuca with the play. Never had the call if he went around again on that because of the foul tip.
Well, that whole strikeout Gary set up with the 2 fastballs, and you didn't have to throw him a strike there. See if the fish go biting. 0-2.
So 2 out and nobody on, and now Aaron Rowand, who has doubled in 3 trips tonight. And he swings over the slider, 0-1. Billy's got a good slider tonight.
What a year Rowan's had. That double in the second inning was his 41st on the year.
He's in the top 6 of the league in 2 base hits. 2 for 6 in his career against Wagner. Billy has struck out the first 2 Phillies. trying to keep this game tied in the ninth. Slider swung and missed.
Well, in a game that featured no Phillies going down on strikeouts until this inning, Billy Wagner saying, "I'll show you how to strike them out."
Just inside with the fastball, 96 miles an hour, 1-2.
Inside corner, strike 3 called. Wagner strikes out the side at the top of the ninth. Moises Alou will lead off the last of the ninth. A 2-2 game at Shea.
Last of the ninth, Mets 2, Phillies 2. Moises Alou will lead off against Tom Gordon. Alou drove in the Mets' second run back in the 4th inning. And he hits a grounder to short. Rollins fields, 1 pitch, 1 out. Here's your Toyota out-of-town scoreboard. The only team that matters to the Mets is right here, but the Braves are in Washington, tied 3-3 in the 6th. The Brewers trail. Remember, the Brewers are a half game behind the Cubs, who are in a pitcher's duel in St. Louis. Carlos Zambrano and Adam Wainwright. The Cardinals trying to snap a 7-game losing streak. The Padres up by a game and a half in the wild card over both the Phillies and the Dodgers. They will be hosting the Giants tonight with Chris Young on the mound. Here's Conine, who's 0 for 3. And Jeff takes a strike.
I believe that was number 45 for Mr. Fielder. As he's having, what a year he's having.
Making his bid for MVP.
He just swings for the downs almost every swing.
Conine hits it foul. So Gordon ahead 0-2. Gordon came on in the 8th, hit David Wright with his first pitch, but then struck out Beltran with the bases loaded. Now we're in the bottom of the 9th, tied at 2. And Conine takes high. Jeff Conine, first game back with his old number 19. He acquired it in a trade today with Sandy Alomar Jr. So far it's been unlucky. He's gone 0 for 3. In there for the 3rd strike, and Conine down looking for the 2nd time tonight.
Wow, there's a very large strike zone from Paul Emmel, but he's been consistent the entire game, Ron.
Yeah, he has. He's been calling that pitch 3-4 inches outside, and the ball up too. I think that's the problem. Both outside and up to the hitters anyway.
Go back to that Reyes at bat in the 3rd inning where he thought 3 straight pitches were out of the strike zone, all called strikes. So here's Loduca, who is 0 for 3. Chase Utley made a nice backhand play and threw him out his last time up. Loduca started the night with a 7-game hitting streak. And he lays off. And the slider misses.
That was a great breaking ball right there. And it missed. I thought it was a strike. Go ahead, Gary. I'm sorry.
Aaron Howman getting ready to pitch if there's a 10th inning. Loduca lately has been looking for balls he can turn on. Not strictly a home run hitter by any means. He's got 8 on the year. One. Breaking ball, foul back. So Gordon gets ahead of Loduca with the curveball. The Mets have played 12 extra inning games this year. 6 of them have been in games Glavine started. Could be a 7th tonight.
Well, the Phillies have a lot of fight in them, that's for sure.
In there for a call, strike 3, and Loduca is hot. He thought for sure that pitch was low, and he better watch out. He's just been run out of the game. Loduca is thrown out, so we're going to extra innings, and the Mets will go there without their number 1 catcher, who now has to avoid anything further that might cause a suspension.
You got to get one of the coaches on LaDuca because you do not want him to lose any games.
Ricky Henderson's jogging over there now.
There you go. Come on, Rico.
LaDuca better put that bat down too. So LaDuca is called out and then thrown out. And we're heading for extra innings at Shea. Paul Emmels had a big strike zone all night. High, low, wherever. Back-to-back strikeouts for Gordon, and we're heading for the 10th at Shea. From the bullpen, where he had been warming up pitchers, now he'll be catching Aaron Heilman in the 10th inning, with Paul LaDuca having been ejected for arguing a call third strike.
Well, Aaron Heilman in the game, and he's been pitching a lot of the big 8 innings in the 8th inning for the Mets, but not today as he gets some extra inning work. Heilman's been throwing the ball awfully well. His last game, he got a couple of earnings, though, late after he was out of the game. That's why that ERA has gone up to 3.28.
Sean Green has also come in the game to play first base. Jeff Conine coming out. So Green, I would assume, will bat in the 9th spot, since that spot is due up second when the Mets come to bat in the bottom of the 10th.
It's got to be a flip-flop here.
Yep.
Heilman in Conine spot.
Yeah, that way you can get Heilman, you know, to pitch a couple of innings if you need.
DeFelice will hit in the 6th hole, and Heilman in the 7th spot. Green goes in the 9th spot. So Jason Worth leads off the 10th inning, tied 2-2. Worth is 1 for 3, and Heilman starts him off with a fastball for a strike. Heilman, the 4th Met pitcher of the night. Billy Wagner struck out the side in the 9th. Taken low by Worth, 1-1. And Heilman's fastball not exactly popping on those first 2 pitches. Normally see him around 93, 94. Those first 2 were at 90. That one had enough to get by Worth, and it's 1-2.
You know, to me, Gary, it seems to me the last 4 or 5 times out, he's going with that 2-seamer and kind of running that sinker down and in on the righties, which will take away from that 4-seam, apologize, 4-seam fastball where he can throw 94, 95. So sacrificing speed for a little more movement. I think that's a good thing.
Now he's ahead on Worth. 1-2 has set him up for the changeup. And he comes with it, and Worth hits it right through the hole. You were talking about it earlier, Ronnie, that he's been looking changeup all night, and he got one there. And Worth is aboard to lead off the top of the 10th.
I think Worth is just a good breaking ball hitter. And he got a little fortunate here. I mean, really, it's just a ground ball that's just well placed. Tough luck for Heilman.
So the Phillies have the leadoff man on. Let's see if the Phillies bunt with Ruiz, who's 0 for 3 tonight. You got the 8-hitter Nunez on deck, and then a fully stocked bench behind him. Got to keep an eye on Worth. He'll steal a base now and again. Ruiz pops up the bunt. DeFelice coming back, and he can't get it. Didn't get a good look at it, and it handcuffed him at the last moment, and DeFelice will be charged with an error for prolonging the time at bat.
Well, I think that DeFelice didn't think it was as high as it was, and he rushed back to cover the ground and overran it.
And that ball always, when it's popped up, will come back towards the plate at the very end, and that's what it did to Mike DeFelice.
So DeFelice just in the game after LaDuca was ejected and charged with an error to keep Ruiz in there. Up and in, and it's 1-1.
And Ruiz cannot stab at this ball. He's got the ball come to the bat. Last time he stabbed at it. That's why he popped it up. He's probably not used to bunting.
Worth at first and nobody out. Tied at 2 in the 10th. And Ruiz bunts that one back to the mound. Heilman's got to play at second, but he throws it into center field. Worth will stay put, and the Phillies have 2 men on.
Well, I got to say here, this is not a bad throw. I think Jose should have made this play. Let's take a peek. You're going to get clocked. There's no question the ball runs away from him. It's a little bit of a harsh judgment on my part. Tough play.
I think the bad play was that at some point someone's got to be yelling to Heilmann, even though it was bunted back to him. Worth got a nice jump, and that play should have been to first base. That was too close to try to make that play.
So the Mets have made 2 errors here in this inning.
So they scored a sacrifice error on Heilmann, allowing Ruiz to reach, and now Nunez up there to bunt. And he bunts it foul.
You just got to get this down now. You got to get this bunt down. If you're the Phillies, you put the Mets right between the crosshairs.
And what you have to do if you're Aaron Heilmann is that you need to make this play, or give yourself a chance to make this play. He throws that sidearm fastball, so it takes his body towards the third base line anyways. Throw it and bust toward that third base line. Try to make yourself a play at third base.
Mets don't often use the wheel play. In fact, they don't use it at all. And so the bunt to right will advance the runners. Sacrifice executed, 5-4.
Well, that's just a beauty right there. And you can see right here, he didn't even move the bat. That's sweet, Ronnie.
And he didn't stab like Ruiz. He caught the ball with the bat. That's how you bunt.
But again, in those obvious bunting situations, if you can run the wheel play, you can get it out at third base on that kind of a bunt.
Yeah, because Aaron's not, Aaron's a big guy as a pitcher, so he's not going to cover a lot of ground. But maybe coming out of that American League school, which I played in after the Mets, they don't care about the wheels. They want to make an out. And that's how the Mets usually play it.
So the Mets now forced to bring the infield in with 2nd and 3rd and 1 out, and Greg Dobbs up to pinch hit for Tom Gordon. Dobbs hitting at .281. They've taken the error away from Heilmann on that throw to second base. They're calling it a sacrifice and a fielder's choice.
You can't assume?
I guess they're saying that it was going to be that close a play. So the Mets are down to 1 error in the inning. The one by Phillies. So here's Dobbs, and he takes a strike. And that fastball got up to 93.
You saw Dobbs in Philadelphia. If you try to pitch him away, he's been pretty good at slashing that ball to left field.
The infield is in. And Dobbs takes it high.
And that's that borderline high strike, Ronnie, that home plate umpire Paul Emmel has been calling all night. He wants it in and it bleeds out.
He's not calling it on that side of the plate, though, only on the outside part to the right-hander. And as the Phillies with J.C. Romero got that big strikeout to Castile with 1 out with a chance for a sac fly, Heilmann needs a strikeout or a pop-up here.
1-1 to Dobbs. And he drives it to deep center field. Beltran going back. He makes the catch, tagging at third, and coming in with the lead run is Worth. It's a sacrifice fly for Greg Dobbs, and the Phillies go in front for the first time tonight, 3-2 in the 10th.
Well, the Phillies come into this game, what, 6.5 out, 7 back in the loss column. And they've shown lots of fight coming from behind here. Take the lead late.
Only 1 hit in the inning, but they make it work.
Well, didn't have the ability to get that fastball inside on Dobbs. That's where they needed it. More over the middle there. A nice hitting by Greg Dobbs. And the Phillies are in a position now that their bench is acting like that because they are in a position they have to win every night.
Well, they're also right in the midst of that wild card race. They're only a game and a half behind San Diego, so even if they don't catch the Mets, they are very much alive as far as the postseason. Rollins fouls it back.
Yeah, I wasn't even talking about like even against the Mets. They just are in a position, whether it's the Mets or the wild card, where they have to win every single night because of all those people involved in that wild card. Someone's going to get hot out of that bunch.
Well, DeFelice is calling inside a lot, and every fastball Heilman's tried to throw into left-hand hitters has bled out over the middle.
He's ahead on Rollins 0-2 with Ruiz at third and 2 down. And Rollins holds the swing on the changeup 1-2. A single by Worth. Ruiz popped up a bunt that DeFelice dropped, and then he got down a bunt that Heilman threw to second base, not on target. A sacrifice by Nunez moved the runners, and a sacrifice fly by Dobbs got a run in. 1-2 to Rollins. Out to second base where Castillo fields, and that ends the inning. But the Phillies scratch out a run in the top of the 10th. Now the Mets come up in the bottom of the 10th with 8, 9, and 1 in the order. Weeks.
So competitive.
Phillies had the upper hand in all of them in that 4-game series in Philadelphia, and in fact have beaten the Mets 5 straight times and trying to make it 6 tonight as the Mets come to bat in the bottom of the 10th. Tonight on Geico Sports Night after Nissan Postgame Live, we'll go in the Mets clubhouse for reaction. Yankees and Red Sox playing as well tonight. Red Sox are leading that game, and we'll take a look at the football for this week coming up tonight on Geico Sports Night. And now Brett Myers comes on to try and close it for the Phils.
Well, we talked about it in the pregame about how disheveled their starting staff was. Well, Myers was one of those that left the starting staff, not because he wasn't pitching well, but because of the injury to Tom Gordon. They needed a closer. He went out there, performed well until he got hurt, and now trying to put the game on ice here for the Phillies.
Well, Billy Wagner did his job tonight. Struck out the side of the 9th, but the Mets could not do anything against Tom Gordon. The Phillies scratch out a run in the 10th, and so now they've got to go after Myers to try and get Heilman off the hook. An unearned run against Heilman, the result of the dropped pop-up by DeFelice. And the Phillies able to use a sacrifice bunt and a sacrifice fly to plate a run. Now Millage, who has swung the bat very well tonight, lined out to third, double deep to center field, and then was drilled by Tom Gordon's by J.C. Ramirez's first pitch in the 8th inning. And the hard thrower Myers starts him off with a fastball for a strike.
Oh, I don't understand why Ryan Howard is playing in at first base and leaving that line wide open.
We have not seen Millage try and butt his way on.
That's over there on the right of your screen.
Broken bat grounder foul, and Millage will go back for a new stick.
Well, the old rule now, 7th inning on, 1-run lead. You always guard the lines, keep the double, don't let a double get by you on the infield. Now, that's a little bit too far away. Even though Miller doesn't go the other way, you got to get a little bit closer to that line. You never know.
0-2, and Millage grounds one out to Rollins. 1 down. So Millage retired, and now Sean Green will come up for the first time. Green came on to play first base in the 10th inning in a double switch. Sean has been swinging the bat very well of late, had 3 hits, including the game-winning RBI on Wednesday night here at Shea. And he takes ball 1 from Myers, against whom Sean is only 2 for 22 in his career. One of those 2 hits, a home run. Green, by the way, had the last walk-off home run for the Mets back in June against the Cardinals.
Well, interesting, Myers, Ronnie. Remember last time in Philly, the whole series, he saved those games. He was throwing nothing but breaking ball. This time he's going after him with heaters.
Yeah, very interesting. We were surprised that the hard-throwing Myers was using that breaking ball over and over again.
Remember, he had pitched like 3 or 4 days in a row at that point.
I just know that when you've pitched a lot, breaking ball takes more out of your arm than a fastball.
2-1 to Green. And Sean swings and misses at the fastball. 2-2.
Well, this was a little over-anxious Sean there, probably wanting something to drive. Ahead in the count, 2-1. He swings at a bad pitch.
Green just taps it foul to keep the at-bat alive.
Well, he's doing one thing with the fastball, Ron. He's keeping it down and away.
Well, that's the recipe for late in the game when you're ahead by 1 run, as Luis Castillo is calling on the gods to get a run here for the Mets.
He'd love to have a turn at bat here in the 10th. He's the 4th man due up, so somebody's got to get on for him. 2-2 to Green. Up and away, and now Myers goes to a full count. Myers sometimes can lose his composure a little bit in tight spots.
Like hothead, maybe, is a way to call it. He's one of those real intense kind of competitors, and that can sometimes work against you.
He's had his problems on and off the field. 3-2, breaking ball, got him. Well, after throwing all fastballs, he strikes out Sean Green with a breaking ball, 2 down.
Well, this is tough to lay off, Ron.
I'm just nasty. You know, that's sometimes you get beat.
Well, after what, 7 straight fastballs, that's a little difficult. 3-2. Wow.
So the Mets are down to their final out, trailing 3-2 in the 10th. Jose Reyes 1 for 4, had an infield hit his last time up in the 8th. And Reyes takes a strike. Reyes has done very well against Myers. 34 career at bats. He's hitting .353 against him. Fouls it away, and now Myers has the Mets down to their final strike. Mets took a 2-0 lead right with the first inning home run out of Lou, a 4th inning RBI single, but they've been blanked ever since by Jamie Moyer in the Philly bullpen. Reyes swings and misses, and the ball game is over. Brett Myers pitches a 1-2-3-10 to save it for Tom Gordon. And the Phillies beat the Mets for the 6th straight time to keep their slim hopes alive in the National League East. They're now 5.5 games back. Mets have 16 games left to play.
Well, you have to commend their starting pitching, which has always been a struggle for the Phillies this year. Jamie Moyer was just outstanding over his 7 innings of work, and a couple of mistakes in the 10th inning defensively for the Mets cost them the run that eventually got them in tonight's ball game.
Well, this game had a little bit of everything, and, you know, give the Phillies credit here. They come in here 6.5 out. They're fighting for the wild card. This is a huge win for them in their drive down the stretch run. And let me tell you something. That man right there said they were focused on the wild card, Pat Burrell. They're not out of this. Anything can happen. There's plenty of time. But just a great ball game tonight.
It was indeed. The Mets fall short. As we check out our Audi game summary, Tom Gordon an inning of the 3rd out of the bullpen for the win. Brett Myers saved it. Aaron Heilman a tough luck loser tonight. David Wright homered in the 1st, but the Phillies able to overcome a 2-0 deficit and beat the Mets for the 6th straight time. They now lead the season series 10 games to 6. Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by the New York State Smokers Quit Line. Call 1-866-NY-QUITS for free patches, gum, or lozenges. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. By Audi, truth in engineering. By IO Digital Cable, the leaders in HD and presenting sponsor of the Mets in high definition. Do you see in HD? And by Nissan and the 2007 Nissan Murano. Well, the Phillies win tonight, take the opener of the weekend series in 10 innings, 3-2 to draw within 5.5 games of the Mets. Tomorrow we'll be on the CW11. Pedro Martinez on the mound, 1 o'clock on the CW11 for the middle game of the series. Coming up next, it's Nissan post-game live with Chris Cotter and Lee Mazzilli. Well, another terrific close battle between the Mets and the Phillies, and again it goes the Phillies' way. Tom Glavine was terrific for most of the night. Mets got some great defense behind him. David Wright hit his 29th home run in the 1st inning to get the Mets off to the fast start. Moises Alou might have taken a home run away from Jason Worth, but Chase Utley's 2-run homer tied the game, and it stayed tied until the bottom of the 10th. Lots of great plays on both sides, and the Phillies win it 3-2. Now for Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling, and Kevin Burkhardt, I'm Gary Cohen saying so long from Shea Stadium and sending you to the studio and Chris Cotter.